Welcome back to the Team to Beat Miami Heat podcast, your one-stop shop for daily Miami Heat content. My name is Amir. For today's episode, we have special guest Major back on the podcast. It's been a while, and Major, you guys all know him. He's been on a bunch of times, and you can find him on Twitter. He's a contributor of the 5 Reasons Sports Network. How are you doing today, Major?
I'm doing great. Ready to talk some Miami Heat. Hopefully not too hot takey. I don't know what we're doing today, really. I've been kept in the dark on exactly what we're talking about, which is exciting, though.
Yeah, so I mentioned on Twitter, and I just launched my first episode of a new series that I am going to be doing this summer during the dog days of summer called Would You Rather, the Miami Heat edition. And so this is in context to the next season and maybe the following season. So basically, I'm going to ask you a few questions, and I want you to answer based on your opinion and what you think will help this team improve, essentially. Like, what will make them better? I'm not going to say contender. I know you did your episode with Ethan on 5 Reasons, 5 on the Floor a few weeks ago or a week ago, and you said that the Miami Heat are mediocre, right? Which I think they are mediocre still until they prove us wrong.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, so the context is we're going to do a Would You Rather game. This is episode 2. And my first question for you would be, would you rather see Nico blossom into a starting caliber point forward? A very good one, because I mean, he might be doing that already based on his play in Serbia. We don't know, though. Kalel might start still. We don't know. So would you rather see Nico blossom into a starting caliber point forward? He is the point forward because he needs the ball in his hands, as we see. Or would you rather have Jaime Jaquez Jr. turn into a two-way lockdown wing? And I don't mean a superstar. I mean someone like Jaden McDaniels, who's also 24, plays for the T-Wolves next to Andrew Edwards, Rudy Gobert, all NBA first defensive team. He averages like 12, 13 points, 3-and-D type player. Having Jaime have that type of impact, especially on the defensive end. So
would I rather Jaime become like a key role player again?
Lockdown defender, though, like a two-way, like
Okay.
his same offensive skill set. He can get you 10 to 13 points a game,
but lockdown.
But lockdown defender like Jaden McDaniels, who made an all-NBA defensive team. Or would you rather see Nico blossom into a starting caliber point forward for next season?
Jaime as a defender. I think because, and I'll explain a little bit, because Nico right now is already kind of on that fringe of that starting guy. I'm under the belief that I think he should start. I think it's best for the team makeup and the minutes wise, as well as it's no secret. And I say it all the time. I'm not the hugest fan of Ware right now. It's some of the minor things he does. So I want Nico to start anyways. If Jaquez can get back to even just the production he had his rookie season, that makes a big difference. So if you add in that lockdown defender with that, I'm going to also say he improves his offense back to his rookie year even. I think that would do wonders for the Heat next year, mostly because he's farther from that than Nico would be or is right now to his improvement in this question.
I would also agree because losing Haywood Highsmith, and I know he didn't have the greatest year defensively last year, but
we need defense.
We need a wing that can play defense, and Andrew Wiggins can do that, but he's 30. He's not 24, and he's regressed himself a little bit defensively. And so Pella's not there yet, obviously. There's no one really on this roster that is a wing player that is a elite lockdown type of defender.
Yeah.
So I think that would help us back to our identity and bread and butter as a defensive-minded team. I think that would just help us again win a lot of those games that we lost last year in those fourth quarters, double-digit leads. Like having an extra plus defender would be huge. So I agree with you on that. Next question. Would you rather have Pelle Larsson develop into a Heat-style 3-and-D role player this next season right away, Like
It's
he's
just
had a
game
great
one.
game one, like all the work he's done and like the
Hmm.
confidence and the reps, like in summer league and Eurobasket, like all translates, and he's in the rotation as like a top 8, top 9 guy, 3 and D, solid player. Or would you rather have Andrew Wiggins bounce back to his one-time All-Star level in a weakened East next year, right? And give us a better chance at contending if he gets to All-Star caliber level, and like we have Norman Powell, and if any of these guys pop at all, Nico, Jaime, whoever, just in general, that could be big, right? So think about that. What would you rather have next season?
I'm going to say this probably is the easiest question you're going to ask today, and I have no clue the other ones you're going to ask. It's got to be Wiggins. If he pops back to that reliable, he's not a primary scorer. He was like on the Timberwolves, but it was terrible efficiency, get up shots. Like he has talent, but that's not his best thing. If he gets back to that secondary behind, Hero, Norm, if he's kind of in that Bam level, not your one scorer, pretty much no matter who's on the court in this new team, like Hero or Norm should always be that one, whichever one. Then Bam's slightly behind. If Wiggins can get up to there, also his defense, to your point, he's a pretty good defender, but I think it would improve and give him that edge a little bit. Plus, he can play with anyone when he's playing at his best. So I'm not worried about the fit with anything. Then you can also argue really good trade piece too if he's playing at an all-star level and if someone else becomes available that they really like a superstar or something. So easily Wiggins getting back to the best version of himself, that could actually be the closest thing to get the Heat into contention.
Yeah, I mean, especially now that we added Norm Powell, so like our offense is going to pop if he's
Mm-hmm.
averaging. I don't think Norm, Tyler, Andrew, and Bam can all average like 20 plus points together, but um, if Andrew is giving you like 21 points per game and Norm is giving you like 17, 18, and Tyler's giving you like 22, 23, Bam's like 18, 19,
Mm-hmm.
that could be huge for us. But also the fact that when Andrew Wiggins was an all-star, he was a two-way player. So it's not just the offense of that 20 points, 21
Exactly.
points, being engaged, actually getting to the free throw line, just being more consistent with that mid-range, but it's like being a point of attack defender as a starter, because right now Davion Mitchell's the only point of attack defender that we have on this roster, basically, and he's
Mm-hmm.
6'2", and he's coming off the bench theoretically, right? Most likely he's coming off the bench. So like no one in our starting lineup. Tyler is a below average defender. Norm is probably barely average these days, right? So there's no one besides Bam Adebayo in that starting lineup that is a elite or above average defender. So if we add another above average defender with Bam, like at the wing position, I think that we could definitely compete in the East. I don't know about the West, just because the East is open with all the Achilles tears that we witnessed during the playoffs. But I think that makes sense. Having Wiggins um, become an All Star, but I don't think we're gonna win either way if that happens. So like, I'm gonna
Maybe not,
switch.
probably not, but at least gives you a fighting chance. That's closer to a fighting chance.
So here, I'll say this though. So you said that, which I agree with it technically, but for the long term of this Miami Heat team, he doesn't seem to be a part of that future. He's 30 years old. He's gonna have an expiring contract if he opts out of his not expiring, but he has a player option. So this is like a
Mm-hmm.
contract year for him. So are we gonna like re-sign him? Is he gonna be a part of that future with Bam and Tyler? Probably not.
If
So
he goes back to the All-Star, you could make an argument.
but you can't afford him and Tyler and Bam, those three, because he's making 26. He's gonna want a slight raise. It's his last opportunity as 30-year-old to get like a 4-year, 5-year deal. He's gonna want a
Maybe.
4-year, like he's gonna want a 4-year deal, at least 30 million plus, right? Because he's making 26. So we'll see. But I
Maybe.
would say I'd rather have Pella then, because he's on the cheapest contract on that rookie scale contract, $2 million. And if we can turn him into a 3 and D like rotational player off the bench, like his in year two, like by year four, like if he keeps growing exponentially offensively, like he could become a real factor in our starting lineup on a cheap contract. So I'd rather have that for the longevity of the organization versus Andrew Wiggins, who might be here temporarily, right? After he got traded here midseason. So
That's true.
anyway, we got to have a little bit of a. It's not a debate show, obviously, but we can't be just agreeing on everything. So, even though I did technically kind of agree with you to a certain degree,
For this season, Wiggins is best. For the future, I'm with you. It's probably Pelly.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Would you rather have Tyler Herro next season become a 2-time All-Star and make the third team All NBA, which would mean growth?
Bigger.
Don't worry about the contract piece. Don't even think about that because that's like, yeah, if you hate Tyler Herro, they would say absolutely not because then he'll be eligible for a supermax if he makes any All NBA team, I believe. So throw that out the window. But just would you rather see him next year become an All-Star again, 2-time All-Star back to back, plus All NBA third team? So he's one of the best 15 theoretically players in the NBA.
Yeah.
Or would you rather see Bam Adebayo win Defensive Player of the Year?
As soon as you said "or," I was like, I know what he's gonna ask. This one, that's tough.
Think about this because what Tyler would have to do, not to become an All-Star, but to become All NBA, right? Like, because All-Star he can, right? Like that's fine, but think about the growth. Is he becoming Devin Booker?
He would be, if he gets All NBA. It's like people that would be mad that he signs an extension would be the dumbest people in the world.
Because if he gets like 28 points per game next season, like 6 assists, 5 rebounds, like
improves defense a little, yeah.
I mean, that's unlikely if he's going to improve his offense that drastically. But like, if find a hair, a smidge on defense, he's still going to be a cone no matter what. But like, that's or Bam would need a Defensive Player of the Year because that means Bam has to step up his defense because his defense was obviously great, but not that great last year compared to years of the past. So
I think so. All right, this is the way I'm going to approach it because everyone knows I want Bam to get a Defensive Player of the Year, right?
So do I.
If we are looking at what improves the Heat the most, because that's kind of how you preface this, all right?
Yeah,
it's Herro. What my heart would like to have is Bam win that Defensive Player of the Year because Bam, I'll push back on he has to improve defense. He did have a slight down year last year. I think it was better than a lot of people would initially say. But I think a big part of that was also the situation and team around him, right? It's his capabilities didn't drop. He should win. He should have won 2 Defense Player of the Years by now, in my opinion. So I want him to get it. I've also kind of accepted he's never going to win one. Now, if Herro takes that next step, like that's 3 steps, really, right? To get third team All NBA, that is similar to Wiggins, but actually more so. That's how the Heat you get him in the playoffs and you're like, we add that Herro to Norman Powell, to even the Wiggins we got last year, right? His offensive load would then be a lot lower and he can focus more on just being a supplemental guy. You have Bam, who we all know in the playoffs, whether you like his offensive stats or not, his impact is huge in the playoffs, right? We haven't seen that the last 2 years, but they stood no chance really in either of those. It's not the same thing as being on a team with a fighting chance. If Herro jumps that, you then probably not quite a Jimmy Butler level, but then you arguably have the best player in your playoff series. Then supplement that with Bam, with Norman Powell, with Eric Spoelstra. I would be full delusion. I would be like, we can do it. Like, I'm not saying we are going to do it, but we could. So I'll choose Tyler Herro. And then if he makes third team All NBA, I'll say this, just piss some people off, pay him the max. No, I am don't pay Tyler Herro the max, but if he takes that step to third team All NBA, you'd be dumb not to pay him the max. Super young, third team All NBA, pay him the max.
Max or super max? Because I think he'll be eligible for 50 mil more. Because right now he's eligible for, I think it's like a three-year 150. If he doesn't sign by October, whatever, right? 10th, 20th. Then next season, if we do it into this next season, right? And then the following off season, he's eligible for a 4-year, 200 million. So it's still 50 million average a year. I believe if he makes any All NBA team, even the third, he gets. I think he's eligible for a 4-year, $250 million max. So you would say yes to the super max, not even just the max, because I can agree with you on that sentiment that if he's third All NBA, He deserves at least the max, which is like the 3-year, 50 million per year, whatever it is. But Supermax is a different
It would
conversation.
be in this day and age, it'd be hard to argue he didn't deserve it.
So you'd pay him 62.5 mil a year. Like if
Well,
he,
like the people that they want to get for him are on that third team level. They would pay them the supermax. Would you pay Donovan Mitchell the supermax?
yeah, but he's been more consistent longer. So
Yeah,
yeah,
but like you then have a guy that's improved every year and he's hit that level. You'd have to pay him. It's
yeah.
just the
Let's
way the
see.
world works. I don't know
All
if
right.
anyone's worth that amount of money other than like 5 players, but it's the NBA. It's how it works now. You have to do it. You can't let that guy go.
Do you
If
remember who
you
was on
traded
the
him, you
team?
better get a crap ton back.
Yeah. Do you remember who made the All NBA third team last year? I'll remind if you want a quick reminder.
Wasn't it LeBron?
No, I could
Was he
actually
second?
I could actually share my screen. So let's just do that real quick.
Let's look.
Okay. Can you see?
Okay,
So
this is third team. Yeah.
yeah, this is let me try to make it a little bigger if I can. Okay, here we go. So we got James Harden,
People would
Town.
say pay him.
He got paid. He's old though. He's 36. He got paid like 35 million, 38 million,
Yeah.
whatever. But
But if he
you got
was
Cat, Tyrese, Cade, and Jalen Williams. Is Tyler in this category? Not yet, obviously, but those
if
names
he
don't
hit
blow me out
there,
of
he
the
would.
water. What's that?
If he hit there, if he hit third team All NBA, yeah, he's in that category and you would pay him. People right now would trade Tyler Herro for any of those guys and say pay him the max. But it's because its name is Tyler Herro. It doesn't. Tyler Herro could win MVP, and there would be a portion of our fan base that would say don't pay him, and if you pay him, Pat Riley needs to retire. We all
Yeah,
know that's true.
I see like Cade, like he's not in that conversation. Like James
Not right now.
Harden, not James Harden. I mean, like obviously he's not in his prime, so that's a different story. Like if we compare them in their primes, of course he doesn't belong in that same. I hate James Harden more than anybody. He's the biggest choke artist ever. But Tyler and James not don't belong in the same conversation. But when you get to Tyrese, even Jalen Williams, I mean Jalen Williams is good. You can't compare them technically, but um, if you compare him to Tyrese Halliburton, who made it on this list, and if Tyler Herro becomes a third, if Tyler Herro makes this list, he is taking that leap, like I was saying, 27, 28, like those Devin Booker numbers, 28 points per game, 7 assists, 5, 6 rebounds. Like,
Yep.
then the defense doesn't matter if his playmaking's better, if he's scoring that much more. Then like you don't talk about Luka's defense, you don't talk about Trae Young's defense when he was like a 5-time All-Star, right? Like you don't really worry about their defense when you're that good offensively. And I mean, Trae Young, I hate also, but like his playmaking, 12 assists per game with 26 points, like that's a system. That's game changing. Not on the Hawks, but like on a different team, right? Like you don't talk about Trae's defense as much because he's putting up 26 and 12, right? If Tyler can get to this level, you're right. I don't think Supermax, but definitely just the regular max.
I'll say this and then we can move on. Devin Booker 2024, look at those stats. 27, 4.5, and 6.9 on 50% shooting. People would have said in 2024, trade Tyler Herro for Devin Booker and pay Devin Booker the super max. If they would have. We all know that. If Tyler Herro averages that same exact number and hits the third team, people would say it's crazy to pay him the super max. It's almost more about the name than it is production at this point. And I'm not saying Herro is worth, like I said, Tyler Herro right now, I wouldn't even pay him the normal max, right?
I wouldn't either.
But if he hits that level, that's what we're saying. Like, how you're pointing out, like he's not in that conversation. The whole question is asking if he goes into that conversation.
Yeah,
Right.
100%.
So then he
Yeah,
would
I get it.
deserve it. But unlikely, but that's what I would choose. Sorry, Bam. I'm sorry. Hurts my soul.
That was the last question I had, though, and we did go a little bit over. I told Major I'm shooting for 15 minutes. We got to 19. On traditional podcast, I tell Major I'm shooting for 20. We get into the 40s, so this is much better. Only a few minutes over, and this was kind of a tangent that we went off. I wasn't planning on sharing my screen or talking about all NBA or looking at all NBA third team previous winners. So, but But yeah, thank you so much for your time. Before we do hop off, Major, just make sure to let the audience know where they can find you again online and find your work.
Yeah, if you want to yell at me for my positivity, or you just think my opinions are stupid, that's what a lot of people like to say. Very few people like me. It's
I like
Major
you.
underscore Passons. So just add an underscore in between my name. And if you want to be shocked, I just did a podcast on the 5 Reasons Sports Network on the 5 Off the Floor. Everyone says I'm blindly optimistic and I'm delusional. They asked for one word about the Heat season next year, and I said mediocre, like Amir said before. So if you want to be shocked, you can hear me say negative things about the Heat in the sense of just next year. They're not going to be great, but they're not going to be terrible or mediocre.
They'll be better than this past season, I think. I think they'll be well above 8 games below 500. Maybe they'll be like at 500 and get the 7th
Yeah,
seed.
and in the East, that's going to make them look even better than they are.
Exactly. Exactly. Anyway, thank you so much for hopping on, Major. Again, I appreciate your time as always. And again, if you guys do enjoy the series, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'm going to have some more guests on throughout the summer. So thanks again.